Hey guys, Santa here, and I brought another deck profile. Today we're going to be looking over what is probably my favorite deck in the game right now, Gholdengo EX. This thing is so much fun. I love when my decks have a bunch of moving pieces, and there's about one other deck that has as many moving pieces as this does, and that is Raging Bolt, which I also plan to do an upload on soon. Keep your eyes peeled. For today, we are going to be going over this list of Gholdengo EX. I've actually run about 4 or 5 different lists of this guy just because I think it's really fun and there's a whole lot of variation that you can do with it. But getting straight into it, we play 4 Gholdengo EX. If you guys have been following along, you saw me pull this on the channel. Bam! Try and link the video over there. This guy is absolutely crazy. His Make It Rain attack costs 1 metal energy and does 50 for every energy that you discard from your hand, which can be a whole lot thanks to a new ace spec that came out recently. He also has an ability Coin Bonus, which once during your turn you may draw a card. If this Pokemon is in the active spot, you get to draw 2 instead, so he's a very good card. Allows us to be turboing through our deck while also being our main attacker. Now, we also run 4 copies of Gimme Ghoul to get into it. This is the one that pretty much everybody tends to try and run. This is the one that I personally believe is the best with minor errand running. If your Energy Search Pro ends up in your prize cards, this is a great way to still get energy cycling into your hand. We do play a couple cards to work around prizing our Energy Search Pro, because that can be absolutely detrimental. Now we do play a 1/1 line of Bidoof and Bibarel. This isn't like... These aren't the world's greatest cards. They're rather good. Bibarel lets you, once per turn, draw cards until you have 5 cards in your hand. This is really good for late game when you get Iono'd. Because if you have a Bibarel, a Gholdengo, a Radiant Greninja, which a phenomenal card in this deck. And we also play Pheasantipity in this deck. If you have those set up on your board, you're basically Iono proof. So Radiant Greninja has an ability that basically everybody uses, Concealed Cards. You must discard an energy card from your hand in order to activate it, but once during your turn, you can draw 2 cards. We also play 2 water in this deck so that we can use Moonlight Shuriken, where you discard 2 energy from this Pokemon and it does 90 damage to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. This can be really helpful to get out of like a Mimikyu lock, because Mimikyu is picking up a whole lot of traction recently. We also play 1 copy of Mew EX. Its restart ability lets you draw cards until you have 3 cards in your hand. Again, if you get Iono'd late game, Mew can be very good to help you out of it. Play a Pheasantipity EX, flip the script. During your turn, if any Pokemon were knocked out in the opponent's last turn, you can draw 3 cards. Flip the script is an absolutely crazy ability. Technically, we could still use its attack Cruel Arrow, which does 100 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon, though it doesn't come up that often. We also play one of the most obnoxious cards in the game. We do play 1 copy of Bidoof. This is phenomenal in a deck like this, allowing you to get a little bit faster, well, not faster of a setup, but it lets you get away with your setup a little bit easier. Play 1 copy of Monkey Dory in a deck that plays a ridiculous amount of energy. Monkey Dory is a very easy inclusion, because if it has any darkness energy attached, you can move 3 damage counters from one of your Pokemon to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Very crucial, 3 damage counters can knock out a Bidoof, so you can use Monkey Dory to actually get yourself out of a Bidoof lock for the next turn. We also play 1 copy of Iron Bundle. With its Hyper Blower ability, you can force your opponent to choose a new active Pokemon. You boot out their active Pokemon and make them swap it from one from their bench. They do get to choose which one it is, so it is not exactly a boss's orders, but it is still very good. Refrigerated Steam for 80 damage is also pretty good against Mimikyu. Mimikyu can be a decent block in this deck, so we are running a couple of cards to be able to get around it. It's just something you gotta do. Alright, for the supporters, play 2 Irida. There are definitely arguments to be made to be playing more. I find that 2 is a pretty decent sweet spot for where I'm at right now. There is a build that runs Palkia V and Palkia V-Star. I also have a build online that runs Lumineon V, and those builds can definitely justify running more copies of Irida, but I think 2 is good for this one. Run 2 copies of Boss's Orders as well. Switch out one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with one of their active. This is really great for sniping things like Pheasantipity on the opponent's field. If you're in a really hard way, you can also use boss's orders to just lock something in the active position that they don't want there. Run 2 copies of Cypher Maniac's Codebreaking, search your deck for 2 cards, put them on top of your deck. This is great considering we run so many cards that allow us to draw cards. This is basically just a search 2 card, which is very, very good. And we play 1 copy of Lana's Aid, which puts up to 3 of any combination of Pokemon that don't have rule boxes and energy cards into your hand. Generally speaking, you only use this to fetch your energy cards, but it can potentially be useful to bring back Gimme Ghouls, Iron Bundles, to be able to continue making plays. Now, moving on to the items, there is a lot. Best item in the entire deck, Energy Search Pro. This can search your deck for 1 of every single energy types. This is basically a +7 if you can get it off, assuming it's not prized and assuming you can find it. Run 4 Buddy Buddy Puffin. You have to get your your Gimme Ghouls going. This is a great card to be able to do so. Run 4 copies of Nest Ball. Again, this can get you your Gimme Ghouls, but this can get you any basic in your deck, so this is just very, very good for consistency's sake. We also run 4 Ultra Balls. We're maxing out on your typical search options. Ultra Ball is really, really good to be able to search your Gholdengos, which can then draw you more cards. Everybody loves it. Run 4 Superior Energy Retrieval. As I mentioned, we are discarding a bunch of energies from our hand, so the ability to pick 4 of them back up is actually super, super crucial, because that is 200 damage you would be missing out on. You do have to discard 2 cards for that, but due to all the effects that allow us to draw cards, it's really not that big of a cost. However, we do also play 2 regular energy retrievals, which will only fetch 2 basic energy cards, but has no discard cost, so it is rather good to include as well. Run 1 copy of Night Stretcher. You could definitely bump this up, but I have found no problems running 1. 1 Super Rod. There is a situation where you can Super Rod your energy cards back, and then use Earthen Vessel to be able to send them right back to your hand. Very, very good if you don't have Superior Energy Retrieval or your Lana's Aid available. You can cycle them back into the deck and then bring them right back to your hand. We are also playing 2 copies of Switch. If you want to see me pull these 2 Switch cards, bam! Check it out over there. I pulled these out of Blooming Waters. I've pulled 4 of these so far, so naturally in the Gholdengo deck, we got to run as much gold as we can. A lot of people don't really run Switch in Gholdengo, but in my opinion, Switch can be really, really good to get your Gholdengos out of trouble, but it also can promote other Gholdengos to the active, which allows your Draw 1 ability to actually be a Draw 2. So in a roundabout way, if you think about it, Switch lets you draw a card. Big brain. Big brain. Alright, moving on to the energies. Once again, we play a lot of them. I'm only playing 3 Metal Energy. I find that you really don't need a 4th one. There are a lot of lists running around that play 4. I think if you play any more than 4, you are lying to yourself. Play 2 copies of Darkness Energy. Again, we include the Monkey Dory, so we really want to make sure that we have a Darkness Energy to be able to attach to them. There is technically a world where you can prize 2 Darkness Energy. If that happens, you just don't Monkey Dory yet. Wait until you can pick one up off of your prize cards and you go from there. Play 2 copies of the Water Energy as well. Again, we play the Radiant Greninja, and since we have so many energies in this deck, it's not that difficult to include a 2nd copy here, so we can actually use the Moonlight Shuriken. I was previously only running 1 copy of this, but as I was testing at a buddy's house, one of my friends was playing Gholdengo against my other friend who was playing Gardevoir, and we got Mimikyu locked, and this was before I made a few other edits to the deck, but we got Mimikyu locked, and the only thing that could have outed it for us was legitimately a 2nd copy of Water Energy, so we now include 1. We're also playing 1 Fire Energy, of course, got the gold. I wish all of these were gold. Play 1 Grass Energy, also gold. Play a Lightning Energy that I pulled myself. Bam! Over there, we got this out of Evolving Skies, and I was very, very excited. We are trying to get as many fancy energies in here as we can. Ignore this slightly less fancy basic Fighting Energy. We also play a Psychic Energy from 2013. As I said at the top, this is one of my absolute favorite decks in the current metagame, and as of recently, it is actually pretty competitively viable. So I've been having a whole lot of fun with it. I've been trying to tweak builds and builds and builds. I know that you can run Pokestop, and it's very good in this deck. Personally, I just don't have any copies of Pokestop, and at this point, so late in the format, I don't really want to buy them just to be able to play them for a couple of weeks. So, this is my Gholdengo deck. I hope you guys like it. I know I do. This is, once again, my favorite deck in the format. It is just super, super fun. She's no Dragapult, but it actually does have a pretty decent Dragapult matchup. That's a big part of why we include Munkidori in this deck as well. We can shift 30 damage onto the Dragapult, dropping that 330 down to 300, which... it's a lot easier for this deck to get 6 energy in its hand than it is for it to get 7, so... the Munkidori helps a lot with the Dragapult matchup, and it also helps a whole lot in the Charizard matchup. Not that Charizard is particularly common anymore, but it is good. It is fun. If you guys are looking to give a deck a try that has a whole lot of moving pieces, this would be my highest recommendation for you. Now, all that being said, if you guys liked the video, drop a like on it, drop a sub to the channel. You obviously love Pokemon cards, and we open Pokemon cards all the freaking time. We also are doing deck profiles, so if you want to learn the game, this is a great way to do it. I'm going to give you a bunch of deck profiles that you can start with, tweak the deck as you please, and start playing the game. This game is so much fun, and I hope that more people get into it. In the meantime, I've been Santa, you guys have been awesome, and I will see you tomorrow for more videos. Bye, guys.